how have you seen the entire industry emerging, and when it has to, come to a level where the entire UX and the experience has been driving the whole economy. So, what has been your key takeaways from the entire journey, and what's the current status now?
I think just to my key takeaways from the journey has, like, I started more also of a creative side. I was more of a a graphic designer, shifted to web when everybody, not everybody, when web design, as they used to tell, started into coming into the mainstream role. I think one of my good habits was or is always being reading about new stuff and just reaching out to different people within the industry to just interact with them. And then somewhere down the line, I think this was close to 2000, 2001, 2002, when I started hearing this word called usability. It was not called user experience at that time, it was called usability. And yes, HCI human interaction was there, but then to boil down, everything was usability. Now, going back to the what Munwar said, it was have some common sense. I remember when I started reading about usability, it was put yourself in the shoes of the user and think like them. That was the whole idea when I started looking into it, and it got me very excited. And the reason was what I saw when I used to work with agencies. I worked with agencies like Digitas and McCann. Over there, digital one was always the afterthought, because mainstream, you had these mainstream advertising was the content king at that time, the king of content. You had ad films being created for crores of rupees, and when somebody wanted to do a digital website, okay, you know what, we've spent X amount of budget spent ho gaya hai, ye thoda sa bacha hai, isse kuch kar do. And that was the whole idea. But then, as Munwar said, it has been changing. A digital transformation started to happen, and people started realizing, listen, digital is the next king. And you see, with the advent of with the introduction of I would say easy access to broadband, easy access to mobile internet, easy access to devices, people started interacting on digital platforms more and more. And then what happened was, digital was at the forefront. And then we saw something called creativity or digital creativity coming in. And that was the advent and introduction of Flash. We created crazy stuff, balls spinning around, 3D objects coming in, fighting with each other, animated websites, and everything was about, expressing, be more creative, be, as creative as you want, because that was something which at that point of time, everybody wanted to, I created a Flash site, which was this, somebody else will create a Flash site, which will one up you. And that was the whole advent of where creativity or design came into the forefront, where, people started looking for designers. You had this, I want a web designer, I want a UI designer. And UI designer, believe it or not, was nothing. You had a Flash designer, you had a web designer. Slowly but steadily, what happened was, as Munwar said, was it started to boil down to experience. People got not bored with Flash. People got, they didn't want to wait long for something to load. They wanted to do their stuff because, people, there was paucity of time because everybody got busy and everybody had access to 100 more things. Earlier, yes, you went to internet to enjoy, but now internet changed for something to just enjoy, to do your day-to-day work. You had emails, you had conversations, you had different stuff. You had everything was on the cloud. You were doing half of your work, not that time, but you were doing a lot of work using the cloud. And so there was paucity of time. That is where I think UX, which was working as at the at the back end, or as was an afterthought. I remember, believe it or not, I remember creating campaigns or creating websites for clients like Lufthansa, and also what they used to, what, we need to talk to the users. यार नहीं यार, आप बना दीजिए, बाद में देख लेंगे क्या करना है, जो हम feedback ले लेंगे, ठीक है. That thing started changing because two things happened. Because of digital transformation, they had more competition. Earlier, the early adopters were ruling the roost. They were sitting because people did not have any options. But with digital transformation, they had competition. And then the user, as Munwar said, experience started to count. Was the user enjoying it? Enjoyment was the, I would not say the primary function. One was, are they able to do the tasks we want them to do easily? Are they getting confused? Are they not getting confused? Or are they able to do the task, as I said, and enjoy it? Why enjoy it? Because they wanted them to come back. And believe me, this was the transformation from more of a business, as again, I might be using the wrong word, business oriented economy, to user centric or experience economy, because businesses now knew that one slip. Imagine, I'll give you a personal example. When Flipkart was in India, I was happy to use Flipkart. Amazing. I used to order books, then they started the e-commerce. But when Amazon came, slowly and steadily, what happened was the overall experience with Amazon was much better. But then slowly and steadily, I shifted to Amazon. The reason was the whole process, the whole experience was seamless. Searching for it, adding to the cart, paying for it, and even receiving the product in my hand was a seamless experience. I knew what was going on. I knew when I will receive the product. I receive a phone call, sir, I'm just going to deliver it right now. If are you available for delivery? If not, I'll deliver it tomorrow. So everything revolves around me now. And this is, I think, UX is at a very, very pertinent and important position right now. The reason is, being an experience economy, it has to look at the user itself. And believe me, acquiring users was the first, of any startup or any company. But now it is about retaining users. How many users come back to you? How many transactions they are doing? And believe me, this is, again, I'm not an expert, but this is somewhat even investors see in a startup. How many returning users you have. You might have 1 lakh users signed up, but are they coming back to you? Because that is a direct sign. Either they love you because for the product you are, or they are going away to somebody else who gives something similar. So I think UX at this point is at the right, in the bang middle of everything. I would say design, technology, and business. It is somewhere in that, we see this Boolean curve, and UX sits bang in the middle of it, because it has, I think, it can take a lot of cues from design, a lot of cues from technology, and a lot of cues from business, and help overall this economy, or the players in this economy, to give a central, or a unified user experience, or a user experience. I would not say a centrified customer experience, be it be online and offline. I think, and Oppo is doing that. As a user's perspective, I see Oppo saying that they're not just making mobile phones. They have one of the best, I think, Android, I wouldn't call it skin, but the color OS. They are investing so much because they've learned that people want stack on Android experience, but they want to create something which is unique, which is giving more to the users than the stock Android. And this is where I think companies like Oppo are investing into this UX experience, because it's the whole experience economy now, as Munwar said. It's not about just giving them good looking phones which take 48 MP selfies and wide shots and night shots and all that. It is all about that. How do they do that task easily? And they love it so much that they come back to it again and again.
So I will take the against Sumit's perspective, because it was a very nice thing, because he said acquiring user is the thing, but the most important thing is retaining the user. And we are facing this kind of big opportunity. I would say it's an opportunity in UX, because you have to design. Your design should appeal to the novice, or your design should call people, but your another area of design should retain those things. So it's a kind of opportunity you are taking to retain. And in our industry, the mobile industry, the average life of a good app is only 3 days. So people will somehow they will come to know, hey, this is good app. They will download it in no time, and they will try to do something here and there. If they don't find it's useful, because they have other apps in pipeline and lot of hundreds of app already in their phone, so they will remove it. So 3 days is the only chance. 3 days is the only opportunity to retain the customer, like Sumit told. So user retention is very big thing. So future is that, I would say future is in micro interactions. It's not a major thing like hey, we had a recipe like Coca-Cola and nobody has in the world. Hey, we are giving you the small thing as well. So I would say micro interaction will be the future, wherein everybody will get the opportunity. And like again, Mr. Sumit, it's really nice to understand those stories, like when the client used to say, "Kuch bana do, phir hum dekhenge." So these are like a nice thing we are not hearing now. So that's why I told it's a learning for me as well. So that time people were focusing on the minimum viable product, MVP, minimum viable product. So many people, and it was a business. Now it's also there, but for a greater chunk, or for the people, for many people now it's like a minimum lovable product. So this in this economy we need minimum lovable product wherein people can love it. And how to design it? The future is like addressing to the positive emotions of the user. Of course functionality will be there, of course their need will be there, of course they should able to accomplish the task, but how smartly or how honestly you are able to address the positive emotions of user, this is the future. So I think again connecting with the Mr. Sumit. So this is the so now you can connect, and now you can see how much how many opportunities you have. You take a one small screen, so it's not about screen. Also, I would again quote Mr. Sumit's thing, like it's not about accessing the information. How smartly you are converting those access information into the knowledge and put into the use. So that way it's like a small it's like a small thing, micro interaction will make a difference. And I would say this is a huge opportunity.
Right.
So it's not like in actual day-to-day life, it's not about designing a one Swiggy app. It's like on top of such app, how you are creating the experience, and in no time people will move from here to there. Like a good example from Flipkart to Amazon. So it's not about selling the product and listing the product. They did something and in no time people moved. And the live example is Sumit. So it means that there is a huge opportunity for the UX design everywhere, in every screen, every corner of the screen, in every pixel of that corner. So this is the future of, I would say, UX.
I think Sumit has pretty much summarized the entire era that we have had till now, and Munawar summarized what we are trying to do now presently. So I think pretty much in line with what Munawar and Sumit said, the future is definitely in micro interactions. Future is definitely in the smaller things that you deliver to the user. I'll take an example of MX Player. When most companies took a deep dive, when most companies were facing a lot of issues, users were not coming on their websites, OTT platforms were on an exponential rise. And even in that phase, even TikTok got banned from India, and that led to a whole new set of opportunities for all different herds of companies. And came in MX Takadak. We literally released MX Takadak in less than a week. It took endless nights, endless sleepless hours. But this is an example of how fast-paced the industry has become now, and this is sort of a trailer of what's in it. What lies in the future. The pace is going to increase. The competency is going to increase, and you need to design a product that strikes such a well note with the user that it stands out and people remember it. Like as Munawar iterated, people do not remember apps after 3 days, and the statistics are even ghastly low when it comes to a website. It's people have 3 second attention span. That has been noted, right? A 3 second attention span is less than that of a goldfish, right? We are basically as most people say, we're basically struggling for those 3 seconds of attention, and you can only do that if you are creating products that actually go within the deep psychological need of the user. And we are seeing a lot of different types of user coming in. For example, in case of MX Player, the next billion users, as we say it, are not just one sort of persona, right? These people are, I would say, a lot more eclectic than people we see in tier 1, tier 2. We tier 1, tier 2 people, we all think alike, wear alike, we speak alike, right? But people coming from tier 4, tier 5, tier 3, they are all coming from such different backgrounds, and they have such different perspectives for life, that creating products for such people is going to be the biggest challenge that even Google is trying to solve, the Microsoft is trying to solve, all the MX Player is trying to solve, all the big companies are trying to solve. How do you create a personalized product in the world where the people, there are so many different sort of archetypes of people, and you need to create an experience that feels home, feels personal to the user. It should feel like your app or your operating system or your phone is made for them. And that is what is going to be in the future, that the practice is going to be so much more matured, that the quality of design, or the expectation of the quality of design, is going to be high. So any startup that's coming in, now you don't just need to have a good supply chain, you don't just need to have a good investor, you need to have a very solid experience backing all of it. Otherwise, it all comes falling apart.